Are we
Yes,
live?
we're live right now, folks.
Yeah, we're live.
Right. So that's good. Right. Welcome to the Low Past podcast. Where's the camera? It's up there. I'm using my MacBook now, so I'm not used to trying to find the camera. So this is the first live podcast that me, Bo, and Accurate here is doing, and that's why everything is so flimsy. We kind of just decided right away, like 2 hours ago, to do this now. So we're not really prepared. So I'm gonna let you guys present yourselves.
Go, Andreas.
Should I go first? Yeah, sure.
Do it.
So my real name is Andreas. I'm a Swedish guy as well as the other two guys that has this podcast. I live in a small town in Sweden. I go by the name of Accurate, and I guess I'm a beat maker, hip hop producer. I'm making instrumental beats. I'm not working with any rappers or artists right now. I'm just doing my own thing and releasing beats instrumental. Right now, the project I'm working on is probably the YouTube channel that I guess people know about if they've found this podcast, I guess. I hope so. I'm also part of a crew called Move Cut Clone. That's the slip mat right there. A bunch of Swedish hip-hop producers that makes beats instrumental and just release it on tape and on online. So that's pretty much me. I'm working a lot with the OP1 and with the Machine Mark II. I also do some scratching and some turntablism like that. So I don't know what's a presentation supposed to be. Something like that, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so my name is Bo from Bo Beats. Like these other two fine gentlemen, I'm a YouTuber. Been making music for quite a long time now. Yeah, I got into YouTube a year ago and started making videos primarily on videos on the Novation circuit, but then I got into other hardware as well. I come I think Andreas and Jacob as well come from a sort of a hip hop background, but nowadays I make more like techno, dance, different electronic instrumental music. Kind of hard to pin it down. I guess it's much more up to you guys to pin it down for me. Yeah, I can go into depth a little bit more later on the different projects I'm working on right now. So I'll just pass it over to Jacob.
Well, thank you. That was unexpected. I never expect to do anything live, really. I don't like doing stuff live because I'm so uncomfortable with stuff not being perfect. Well, I'm Jacob Hack from Hack Attack. I'm also a YouTuber, as these fine gentlemen. And I also, as Bo states, I come from a hip-hop background and reggae background. And I got into doing dubstep and drum and bass and stuff like that. The thing is, I've basically been doing the same type of music for years now, and I just can't stop because I love doing music like that. My thing is iPads and iPhones today. I make music on iOS. Before that, I used computers. Before that, I used hardware. So 25 years going on strong with this thing, and now only iOS. Only today I had to use a MacBook to stream for some reason. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, but that's my presentation, really. I'm sure that you all find out, well, more about us if you follow us on this podcast, because I'm hoping there will be much more of this. So, guys, as I'm feeling quite uncomfortable now, do we have like a topic right now we can start talking about?
Okay, so we haven't structured the podcast that much. We have like a general idea of what we want to talk about, but since it's the first time, we're just feeling our way through this. So I thought I'd like to ask you guys a little bit more about sort of what you're working on right now. I know Andreas. Or Accurate, you have been doing this 12-day challenge thing for yourself on YouTube. Could you perhaps you could, explain a little bit about what you've been doing on your YouTube channel, and give us a rundown. How did it go?
Oh yeah, I talked to my girlfriend one day, and she follows a lot of YouTubers, like those traditional YouTubers that talks about they do vlogs about their day and their fashion and stuff like that. And a lot of them was making 12 days of Christmas, or even 24 days. They were doing the whole of December until Christmas. And I wanted to try something like that, so I thought 12 days of Christmas, 12 days before Christmas, up until Christmas Day. And I was supposed to make one video a day, and I almost did. I didn't do the last day because I had to rearrange the studio, and I had to switch from one room to another.
You had to rearrange the studio.
Yeah, I had to rearrange it all. So that was more important than making the last video. Nevertheless, my thought was just to make one video a day. It didn't have to be those long videos that I did before. Just some short ones, 2-3 minutes or so, just to make something every day and just see if it could help my channel, or if I could gather a bigger audience, or if I could just challenge myself to make something a bit more demanding, I guess. And it was really, really demanding, I can tell you that.
Yeah. So what was the hardest part of doing this super fast, these super fast videos every other day, or every day? I mean,
I go by the name Accurate, and people call me Accurate because I'm pretty picky with stuff, and I want things to be accurate. I like things to be a certain way, and if I'm doing one video a day, I'm having troubles with the content and the editing. I'm not very good at editing, and I'm editing in Final Cut Pro, so that's a bit of work for me, I guess. I really wanted to make it work, and I did. There are 12, 13 videos, something like that, and I'm happy about it. But just taking the time every day to be able to sit down and make a video talking about stuff, or making music, and edit the video and put it out with my bad internet connection. That was a challenge. So I think the editing was the hardest part of it, actually.
Yeah. What
So
do you
if
think?
you want one video a day, I can recommend it. My channel is growing fast, and the channel is healthy, I guess, but it took way too much time. It took much more time than I expected. So.
Yeah. So what kind of growth are you looking at? Can you like see it or feel it, the growth of the channel because of these more frequent videos?
Yeah, really, very much so. When I woke up this morning, I had 137 new emails, and I get an email every time I get a new follower. So
okay, cool.
So yeah, a lot of things have happened, and I've reached about 5,000 subscribers right now. So the channel is really growing from it, but I'm not sure I get the kind of followers I want, because I'm not going to keep doing this. I can't keep up with one video a day. That's impossible.
Yeah.
But it was a super fun project, and people have been asking a lot of things in the comment section, and it's been a good time. Sure.
That's cool. It's really cool. So I was, when you said you were going to do it, I was super curious, because I also know you as the kind of accurate person. Myself, to you who don't know me, I'm more sort of, I'm more the shotgun type. I just, do a shit ton of stuff, spray it all over the place, and I hope I hit something. I do things pretty fast, and I'm not always very picky exactly about what I put out. Sure, we're all perfectionists in some way, but it's you can be it in different ways. So did you feel like that part of you that was a struggle, to like kind of lower your standards?
Yeah, that was the whole meaning of the project from my own growth. Just to try to make something that wasn't super controlled and didn't have to be edited the way I really wanted to be. So I had to lower my standards and put out some stuff that I'm not super proud of. But the 12 Day of Christmas project, I'm really proud of that. Every individual video, not so much. But the project, super proud of it. And I think that's accurate. And I think that's, in one way, exactly what I want it to be. But if I had the time and I had the power to edit every video until it was perfect, I guess I would prefer that. But yeah, I think I learned something from it. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think about the project, Jacob?
I think it's a good experience for Andreas here, because I know what it is to be like that, trying to have everything become perfect. I haven't released a piece of music other than what I do for my show, because I make new music for almost every episode or video I put up. I make new music, but full albums, those take me months. Right.
Yeah.
So since I'm doing videos all the time, I don't really have time to do music. I'm an all-in person in everything. I can't do everything. I can't do anything halfway through. So I have to do all of it. So if I want to make an album, I'm pretty much going to have to stop making videos for some time and do the album instead. And I don't want to do that. I want to make the videos. So I'm at a place where I'm trying to make music for my videos instead. So I understand Andreas completely when he says that, you know, he needs stuff to be in a certain way. I struggled with that myself. So yeah, I think the videos were good, and I think they were honest, and I like that. You can see the person behind it. You see through, like, there's no editing to go through. It's just the person, right? So I thought it was great, Andreas, and I think you should make more of it and just mix it in with everything else you do, because I'm one of the viewers here also, and I like it. So yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, thanks. That's nice to hear. And I think I'm gonna do a wider range of videos now. I can do stuff that I'm not super comfortable doing normally, but I still like my channel to be about music more than about music gear. And I like my beat making videos more than I like my sitting in front of the camera talking about stuff kind of videos. But I'm gonna be able to switch it up more, and I think I really grown out of it. So thanks for liking.
That's good. That's good. That's progress, man.
Yeah, I thought it was super cool. Both because it was like a personal challenge for you, just like Jacob was saying. But I also, you know, I really enjoy seeing people, you know, devoting themselves to something. You know, telling themselves, okay, I'm going to do this project here for a period of time or something. And you know, just going into it. And I remember you saying someday you were not feeling so good, but you still put out a video, and I thought that's, you know, dedication. And I think that teaches something to the audience as well, you know, that you have to devote yourself. You really have to work on something, and to keep telling yourself and keep pushing yourself, even though it can be a struggle.
Yeah, I think that's super important, because I get a lot of comments on the channel as well. People are telling me that I make music making seem simple and easy and effortless. And it's become that way because I've made a ton of music over the years. I haven't done a lot of videos though. So this YouTube thing is new for me, and I have to do it a lot to progress and to become better at it. So I think that's a lesson anyone can take with themselves. If you need to do something, just do it. Don't care that much. Don't care as much as I do about the quality of the content. Just put something out there and do it, and challenge yourself.
I think that's super important lessons. I mean, I come from like having a couple of years now prior to say prior to 2015, so like 2010 to 2014, where, like, you know, years where I was super down creatively. I didn't really produce a lot, and I'm the kind of guy who, when I produce, you know, you've seen my channel, I can produce a lot of stuff in a very short period of time, and you know, I'm not too picky about quality per se, but I guess, you know, this is also something I struggle with, just like you guys were talking about, and something that YouTube helped me a lot with, just, you know, putting my mind to something and just producing content, and being more okay with letting people judge my content instead of me first judging content, you know, prior to releasing it. Like, is this good enough? Does it hold up? You know, I've learned more and more, yes, you know, say shut up to myself and let people decide, you know, is this good? Is it not? I mean, some of the videos that had gotten a lot of love are videos that I thought, nobody cares about this. Whether it's me talking about something or if it's about music or something. I mean, it's.
And I think you have to separate the two. I think producing music and releasing stuff like that, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Producing videos for YouTube, that's a whole other thing, because that's in the new media thing, for me at least. You can make a YouTube video today and somebody watches it and it's alive for like 2 days and then it dies.
Yeah.
I don't like to see music that way. I like music to be something that always exists and something that doesn't disappear. I don't mean that YouTube videos disappear, but the hype dies out. I think music should be. I think music is supposed to be a more artistic thing than these quick YouTube things I'm doing. I want the music to. I want people to buy cassettes and have that thing at home. Video, you just watch it 10 minutes in your bed on your iPhone. That's fine. But music, I think I want to work a little bit more on the music than I want to do on these videos.
Perhaps you could, talk a bit about those cassettes. I think people will be interesting to hear. How does the cassettes tie into the YouTube and your beat making?
That has nothing to do with it, I guess. I think the music I make, some of it is going to be released on my next cassette, and of course that's what I do first, and YouTube comes second for me, because music is what I've been doing for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
More than that. So we're releasing stuff like this, regular cassette tapes, mono, stereo, whatever, and people buy them because people are interested in the crazy type of beats me and my crew is making. But it has nothing to do with the YouTube thing, really, for me.
All right, cool. So Jacob, perhaps you could, go into a little bit about what you're working on right now, or sort of what you're up to with your channel or with your music at the moment.
Well, I've had a lot of time to think about that with my channel, because I've been going strong for 2.5 years doing these videos, and I'm soon hitting 500 videos. And I'm also having a look at my growth, and my growth cannot be compared to your own or like accurate growth. You can't, because the area of expertise where I'm doing about like iOS and stuff, sure, I've brought in hardware the past 9 months, I think, on my channel, and I'm gonna bring in much more, as much as I can afford, basically. But I'm doing iOS, and so it's a smaller area. It's not that big of an area. So I think I'm doing good in growth compared to what I'm doing.
You're doing awesome.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't have anything to compare to. There's no one out there doing this the way I do it, the way I've always done it. I've treated my stuff as a job always. When I'm unemployed, I spend 16 hours a day on this. When I'm employed, I spend 8 hours a day on this. It's not something, as I said, I don't do anything half-baked. I go in fully doing this, knowing exactly what I'm doing, and I have a purpose with doing everything. So there was even a time where I was doing one video the same way I do all my videos, every day of the week, and I did that for 9 months, I think. So the first year I produced over 200 something videos, and I was absolutely exhausted. I had no free time, and I was beginning to get depressed, even though I was doing something that made me happy, because it just doesn't work like that. You can't keep on doing it like that. So I have time to think about this, what to do for next year, trying to increase the growth of my channel. And I really have no idea what to do. I have no idea whatsoever what to do with the growth of my channel. I have no idea what to do exactly with the format, except that I'm going to add more hardware with it. What I'm working with at the moment, I'm not really working with anything. I'm keeping my eye on the market. I'm checking for new apps. I'm in contact with some developers about new stuff they're making. And so I'm preparing myself for the new year. And for the new videos that will be made. So I really wish, I mean, it's Christmas and New Year. I wish that I could spend all that time making music instead right now, but I just can't afford it because of the growth of my channel. I kind of need to be one of the first ones with the most popular videos out there. And I've never ever wanted to work like that. That's why you sometimes see me do a video of an app that is like a whole month old. And that's old in app time. That's old. But I'll wait that month just to become friends with the thing, because I want the content that I produce to be able to be grasped by anyone, whether you're a pro or if you're a beginner. And I can't make videos like that the first day. So I don't know what to do. What am I working on? I don't know. I really don't know. I just want to make good content, and I want my channel to grow. That's what I want to do. So I'll have to find a way. If you guys have any ideas, I would love to hear them.
Yeah, it's a super interesting question, really. I mean, we've already, talked a little bit about it. With Accurate was going into it with, the differentiating between his music and his YouTube and so on. And that's really, it's really interesting because, like you say, Jacob, those are really, it's really a different approach that's needed to YouTube. It's all about how do you retain your viewers, how long do they watch, and to be honest, music by itself doesn't really seem to go all that way. I mean, I don't want to diss the music scene on YouTube, because it's like one of the best music scenes I've ever seen. People are super kind and super engaged compared to over on SoundCloud or on forums and on Facebook and whatnot. So it's amazing. It's really what brought me back more and more into making my own music again. And we've talked a lot about this before, guys. If you want to grow on YouTube, you have to have a slightly different mindset than you might have when going into your own music. And like you say, Jacob, it's often it's about being first with something, or having an angle that provokes or evokes something in people. I can just give you an example from my own channel. Some of the most successful videos, successful, not that I'm proud of them, are like my rant videos. We talked about this before. They did really well, and I mean they are stupid. They are not very intelligently made. I mean, you guys know. I mean, my level is here, and the videos are here. So I mean, but they are successful in YouTube terms, but they're not really content I'm super proud of. But they got a lot of attention, and that's a big.
I have a hard time doing like rant videos, because they make me negative, and they make me think negatively, and I'm scared of that. I'm scared to death of that, because I have an easy way of getting depressed. But when I talk about stuff that makes me happy and others happy, and do stuff that makes me happy and others happy, I kind of stay happy. It's funny how that works, but I stay happy from that. And that's not popular, but it just makes me feel a bit better. How do you feel when you've made a rant video? What do you feel afterwards?
No. I mean, I've done 2 pretty successful. I'm sure here to put quotation marks around successful. I mean, lots of views in a short period of time. I've done 2 big rant videos, and to be honest, I felt a bit like what you're saying right now. I didn't, I felt a bit more down when I did them, because I didn't get a lot of negative, not a lot of criticism, not that much trolling and so on, but the overall feel of the comments were sort of negative, because I ranted about problems. So people talked a lot about their problems in the comments, and it left me, feeling a bit drained and not as happy as when I make, for example, a jam video or a tutorial. Tutorials are my happy place, where people are, genuinely grateful. So I do feel you. At the same time, it's sort of, for me, since I'm kind of this theater person, you know, to be frank, I like the sound of my voice sometimes, you know. I can't, you know, I have a job where I have to listen to people a lot. So for me, YouTube is an outlet, is a creative and personal outlet. So I guess I have a easier time justifying rant videos or videos a little bit drama-like videos, because I feel like it's an expression of a side of myself that doesn't get a lot of, you know, a lot of place in my private life or in my professional life, since I do this on a hobby basis. So I guess I justify it to myself and a bit like that. But overall, I'm not very happy with them, and I don't think they make me feel any better, or, you know, it's not something I really want to do or be known for. So I'm a bit careful. I think it's a good thing to, you know, be a bit mindful of what kind of content you produce and how you know, how you stir up shit.
Well, this is a funny subject because now we're talking a lot about YouTubing, and for me, it's the other way around, as always.
Yeah.
My best videos, the videos I've done that goes best, I have 70,000 views on one video. That's probably my best video, and the one after that is one of my best videos as well, according to myself. It's a beat making video with me making a pretty good beat, to be honest, and putting a lot of scratch on it and just telling the viewers what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. And for me, that's the fun thing about YouTube, because all of the comments on that one is just, wow, that's super dope. Yeah, you made it look so easy, and everything just stays positive, and it's positive all the way. It's still a pretty hard and pretty nasty track, but people like it and people want to see it because I think because it's a good song and because it's the beat turns out nice. And I think that's YouTube for me. I'm not going to do videos just to get traffic on the channel. I don't want to make videos like that. I make videos because I make music, and I think I can maybe teach somebody what I do and how I do it and my thought process about it. And those videos goes well for me because that's what I do. That's my thing. It feels more like your thing, Bo, is your personality is a big thing of your videos. In my videos, it doesn't even need to be me. It just needs to be beats, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess you do the hip hop thing with the hip hop beats, and you're really good at it. And it, you know, it's part of the culture you're coming from. So I think it makes sense. I mean, to remove yourself a little bit and put the scratching and put the music in center. I mean, it's obvious that really works with your audience. And yet, like you say, I'm more of the kind of guy who perhaps, you know, I'm part of the bargain. You know, my personality or my style is part of what you get or what you buy into if you want to you know, to participate on my channel. But I also think, you know, taking it back to Jacob's, you know, question or his current state of his creative endeavors, I think, I mean, Jacob, it's obvious that you have your musicality shows in the videos, and people are interested and the viewers are interested. But I think, you know, looking at it from a YouTube standpoint, I think it's like you said yourself, it's a small market, or it's a small branch of something. I mean, look at Accurate's videos. It's hip hop. It's generic. Not the videos are not generic, but it's a generic topic. It's a broad topic. It's like a big cultural thing. While your videos are on like the, you know, the iPhone side of things, things have a short lifespan, like you said yourself. So I think that can contribute. I mean, looking at videos with the OP1, for example, it's insane. They still, you know, that unit by itself drives a lot of traffic to people. It's very apparent.
For everyone else, yeah, not for me though. I make OP1 videos. So no, I don't know. Maybe there's something weird with my channel or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. And I make tutorials. That's what I do. I make tutorials mostly.
And I have to say, when we first announced we were going to make a podcast together, We posted it on all of our channels, and like 2 hours after that, I received a text message from a DJ in Gothenburg who told me just, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you're working with Jakob Hack because I'm always watching his videos. I have an iPad, and a lot of the things he does that's not pure DJing, he's also producing a bit of music, and that's a big part of it is on iOS, and he's got a lot of help from you. So I think you're doing the exact right thing for your audience. You're just sticking with the iOS, you're sticking with the iPad and the iPhone. And I'm sticking with hip hop, so I'm generic that way, and I think you're generic on the iOS market. And if we're going to talk about gear and music technology at all, I think the iPad is such a great device. It's such a fantastic tool to be able to use. And I mean, all these things, the turntable, the mixer, the machine I got, the OP1, that's super pricey. Almost everyone has an iPhone or an iPad and can make music that way. So I think that's your, what is it called? Unique selling point on the channel. And
yeah, and all of the content on my channel is produced on an iPhone.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. That's just...
I mean, I make the videos and record them on the iPhone, and sometimes I use the iPad, but it's all iOS, all the almost 500 videos. The whole channel is just iOS. And that's why I also know all the ups and downs with the platform. And the downs worry me a lot. So that's a topic I would love. You know, rant videos, I would have no problems making rant videos about Apple. And I have done one. I did, about the headphone jack on the iPhone. And I don't feel bad one bit about making that video. I didn't want to make it, but I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Trust me on that.
I get it. Yeah. So I guess, yeah.
Do we have a music topic? I mean, we've been talking YouTube a lot here.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about what Bo is having on his schedule.
Yeah.
So that will bring us a bit back to music. So just in short, I just released my first sound pack or patch collection. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's super cool because it's I wouldn't say the pack is super cool, but I think it's super cool for me to just like we talked about earlier, you know, putting my mind to something and just create a pack. So it's a pack for, let's see if I can bring it up here without destroying something in the studio. So it's a pack for the circuit from Novation. So it's 32 patches, and I'm selling them via Isotonics, the guys who made the circuit synth editor. And they just approached me and asked if I were interested in making patches for the circuit, and I had been doing so for some time as well, for my own amusement, because I did the circuit editor tutorials that they actually use on their website.
Oh,
so yeah. So I started making them like in late November, had a deadline sometime December, and I didn't really think I would finish them. I didn't really think I would manage to finish because I had so much else to do. I did this part-time education during this period as well, working a lot. So, but I think the reception was super nice. People seemed to like them, and I sold a few, and you know, it's just nice to see that people are, you know, supporting you. I guess it's sort of the same feeling when you sell your mixtapes, Andreas.
Yeah,
people are interested.
But how does it work with the circuit patches? Are they're unique to just the circuit? There's no wave samples or stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly. There's they are basically just settings for the circuit, and I think what makes a patch unique when you make it for the circuit is the macro controls. There are 8 macro controls on the circuit, and each macro control controls several parameters at once. So you don't have any basic. You don't have the basics. You don't have the cutoff and the ADSR and so on on the unit itself if you don't map it to the macro controls. So usually, when people make their own patches for it, you end up with these strange random things that happen when you start turning the knobs, which is really funny because you don't know exactly what they do.
So the macro controls changes from the patches. It's not
Yeah,
all
exactly. Each patch has its own 8 macro controls, and a macro control can consist of, let's see, I think it's like four or 5 different values that you can impact
on one knob, so you can change.
On one knob, yeah, and you can create, like, for example, you could put on like one knob, you could put, say, lower the volume of an oscillator and increase the volume of another oscillator by turning it the same way, so that you get a negative value and a positive value. That way you can make interesting sweeps between different parameters. And then there's a mod matrix inside the editor where you can you can send different parameters to each other, so that the macro knob affects, say, makes the LFO affect the cutoff frequency and so on, making modulations. So I think that's why it's the circuit patches are interesting, because they're often very unique.
That's innovation for you. They make awesome stuff.
Yeah,
awesome stuff.
Yeah, so that's been like one of the big things that I've been working on lately, the patches.
Yeah.
So
I can't help feeling that I want to take part of that. I don't want the circuit at all. I don't like the looks of it, but I want the patches. I want to hear what you've done.
Yeah. I think you could find some use of them. I just went with what I thought was, what sounded good to me, and I had this mindset that I wanted to create patches that didn't sound too much like the circuit, if that makes sense. Since I have a particular sound to them, so I used EQ. Try to use the EQ a lot, and there's an EQ inside of the editor, and I try to also use a lot of distortion and drive, like filter drive modulations, to create a little bit, a raw sound. I think I managed to do that. So other than that, I've just, I just got Octatrack, so I've been working a lot with that, getting into that crazy workflow. It's I can really see why people get anxious when they start it up the first time. And did you guys heard about what happened to me with Octatrack?
No.
Yeah, with the power cord.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
So first, I didn't get a power cord with Octatrack, and then I had to wait 2 days to get the power cord. And then when I got it, the Octatrack was broken. So if you go to my SoundCloud, I think it's soundcloud.com/BoNermi, you can find it on my YouTube. You can actually hear a demo song with the sounds from the broken Octatrack, and it sounds hilarious.
How was it broken? What was it working properly?
I don't know. You turned like the headphone knob, and it just made it all kind of crazy noises, like a squealing cat. And when you played samples, they just sounded totally broken down and destroyed. And the funny thing, the first thing people told me over on the Octatrack Facebook group was like, user issues, because it's hard to use. So I guess some people jump to the conclusion that because they can't get it to sound right, it's broken. But mine were obviously broken. You turn the headphone knob and it just went crazy in a way that it shouldn't. So I didn't buy it in my town, so I had to go back and return it in the store, because there aren't any Octatracks for sale in the stores. There were like 2 in Sweden or something at the moment, because the Electron, they had a problem manufacturing them at the moment. So there's new ones coming, I think, in January. So I didn't want to wait till January, so I went back and I exchanged it. And when I came home with the new one, it wasn't broken, so that was a good thing. But I got a Japanese manual instead. So that was pretty funny. But now I'm super happy with it. It's just an amazing product.
It sounds like such a mess. I don't understand how they managed to mess it up that bad.
Yeah. I thought.
Did you get in contact with the Oh my God, what
the
they call
Electron
again?
guys? Yeah.
Yes.
They told me like, yeah, we've seen your tickets. You seem to have had a very bad week. So they sent me a new power cord, and so now I got 2 power cords actually. So that's good, I guess. And they had sent me a new manual, of course. So they were super kind. And they couldn't explain how a Japanese manual ended up in Sweden when it's a Swedish-made synthesizer or sampler / synthesizer thingy. But it's an interesting week for sure. So
But I don't want to be a hard ass, but you have the Octatrack and you have all the Electron stuff, but are you actually making any music on it?
yeah,
For me,
actually,
it feels like the products are just too complicated to be able to function.
yeah. So I think this ties into we talked about having a topic here on our favorite piece of kit right now. So I think it's a good segue into that, like what we working with right now that we feel is interesting or fun. So yeah, I can just, my favorite piece of kit right now is definitely the Electron stuff. I come from a Groovebox background with the Yamaha RM1X.
Nice.
And it's a super fiddly device, a lot of menu diving, and they had, this is real menu diving, not the kind that Electron has. Electron is sort of a menu diving light. But yeah, so I think I actually, I first got the analog keys, then I got the analog rhythm, and now, or rytm as it's pronounced, rytm in Swedish, and now I got Octatrack. And I felt like, yeah, I'm going further and further down the rabbit hole for sure. But
what's left Electron wise? That's the
heat.
Yeah, and the analog 4.
Yeah, the analog 4, but it's the same as analog keys, so it's they say there's small differences, that the analog keys it has a little bit better sound engine, better at reproducing bass, but I'm not sure exactly how that works. They're basically the same without the keyboard. So, and then there's also the old stuff like the mono machines and so on, and those look tasty for sure, but they aren't for sale in stores anymore. But yeah, I think for me the Electron workflow works for me, and the Octatrack is definitely the favorite piece of gear right now, because it's a lot like a computer in a box. It's a lot like having like a machine. A Machina controller, but having everything inside the controller instead of needing to have a computer. And also it has these kind of limitations or quirks that makes you do music in a new and interesting way. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. And also, this thing where my like how you say it, my performance side really ties into my production side. So I can produce while I'm performing, in a sense, because it's so hands-on. So you can be, listening to a beat you've been doing, or a pattern, and you just, I just want to make a transition on the Octatrack where I add a little reverb and I do cut off and stuff, and that's super easy to do on the Octatrack with the fader. You just assign it to empty scene, and then you edit the parameters on, so that when you move the fader, it changes the sound totally for the channels. So I'm having a lot of fun with it.
It sounds a little too complicated for me, but yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an acquired taste for sure. It's not for everyone. I did a video with my first thoughts about it, and my sort of, my bottom line is, if you're accustomed to a different workflow and you're not interested to learn to do music in a different way, then it's not interesting. It's not for you. I mean, it's totally different. I haven't come across anything like it before.
I don't know if I might be wrong here, but I feel like all kinds of equipment does that thing right now. They try to separate themselves from each other. I mean, the machine workflow is pretty machine specific. The push workflow is pretty different. Just to talk about the iPad app, what's that called? Korg?
Gadget?
Korg workstation thing.
Huh?
Korg,
Gadget? No?
Gadget. Yeah, I can't get my head around Gadget. I don't understand how it works because that workflow doesn't fit me at all. Is it just me, or do you guys feel that way as well? One thing has everybody tries to lock you in. I mean, I'm in the iPad. Oh, sorry, I'm in the Apple world, and I'm also in the Native Instruments machine world. And I don't want to get a Windows machine, and I really don't want to get a Ableton Push.
I would love to give an insight to that, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, sure. Shoot.
The way I watch, the way Gadget for me is a simple app. I do agree with Andreas that many developers are trying to lock stuff into a certain way of doing it and making it unique to their own product. But the thing is, with me, Gadget is something I've seen. The way Gadget works is something I've seen for ages. I'm an old Fruit Loops user. I mean, it's basically like a Fruit Loops machine, but different looking. Or you could compare it to Reason, or you could compare it to any other type of pattern-based generator. That's what it is. It's got this pattern track thing there, and then you have the plugins down there in the mixer. All you have to do is just change the view you have upon it. But for me, I've used loads of these stuffs. Man, the hardest thing I find to work is, like, I love the OP1. The OP1 is awesome, but it's so hard to me to get into the workflow there, because for me, it's got that same workflow as like an MPC. I have a hard way of getting into working with that too. I'm also an old Groovebox owner. I love the Yamaha stuff, and I do love the Roland stuff. I used to own like the MC303, the bigger one, can't remember the name of it. And these were brilliant machines, but they all have this thing to them. They also lock themselves into a certain way of doing stuff that only these brands did. So for me, I view it as it's the same. It's only that with the iPads and stuff is getting more quirky. Stuff is definitely getting more quirky. Have you guys tried like Playground, the Playground app?
No.
It's not a musician's tool. It's basically ready to play music, but the way you play it. Have you ever watched how? Check this, or Noise by Amplify. I suggest you check them out, guys, because that's another way of working. You basically just slide your fingers around and music is happening. I see that as the future too.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Someone in the chat room says Gadget is like Ableton with the scenes and clips, and that's the thing I don't understand. I like the timeline to be either this way or that way, like a tracker. I don't understand Gadget. It's like these 2-bar things, and it goes from left to right and then down. I don't understand it. I like things to be pattern-based.
Yeah. But going back to your point there, accurate. With I think Jacob is correct that most hardware and software developers, they try to get their piece of the cake by making something that is different, or at least different enough from what others are making, and of course some manufacturers will be, because of tradition and because of the history of the products, are closer to each other. So if you're like accustomed to, say, Moog synthesizers, I guess the step to a Dave Smith synthesizer isn't that huge, but going from Moog and DSI synthesizers to Electron, that's apparently a very big step, because people are super confused about it. And I think it's also very inherent to programs and synthesizers that are, that have these onboard groove boxes or onboard sequencers, because it's sort of the interaction between the hardware interface and the software. It's always so unique to the synthesizer or to the groove box that it almost has to be a bit different for each product, I guess, or each product line. The Electron stuff are similar because the way the sequencer, they are similar in physical appearance and the way you work them, because the sequencer is actually very similar. And I guess that sort of goes for other products as well. I know the Yamaha RM1X and the RS7000, the sequel, they aren't totally different, but they are of course a bit different because the hardware is very different in one sense. So it's, I guess it's something for me. I guess it's something that comes with a lot of the physical layout.
Yeah, and for me, I think the sound a thing can make is what makes it unique. But I like the sequencer to be a certain way. Look at the sequencer on the Korg Volca series, for instance. You can't on the digital ones, on like the Volca FM that I have here. You can't record anything unquantized, and I can't work with that. That's impossible for me. I need to be able to put some feel into it without quantization, and that's why I don't want to get the analog rhythm, even if I had the money, because I'm afraid I won't understand the workflow, and I'm afraid my music is going to change, and I'm going to do something that I'm not used to do.
Yeah, and I think that's why I got them, because I wanted my music to change, and I think some piece of gear, or at least when you know that a piece of gear is very different from what you're working with at the moment, if you're open to learning something, if that's something you want, you want to learn something new, you want an exploration, and you want a change in the way you make music, then stuff like the OP1 and the Electron stuff are great. But you really have to, you can't just go into it thinking like, I want to make music like I did on them, because you can, of course you can tie it into, but they have this weird way, and I guess the OP1 is the same in some sense. You start to learn it, and then you make music in an OP way if that makes sense. It impacts you.
Yeah, I totally agree when you were talking about creating sounds and creating audio, but when it comes to sequencing stuff and get a human feel into it, I still can't work with 16th notes quantized. I like to sequence my things in Machine or inside of Logic.
Yeah.
If I have another sequencer, I know I'm gonna mess up. Something's gonna be fucked up, bad time. Sounds, I need stuff to sound weird, and I need stuff to sound new, and I need to learn those things exactly as you say. But when it comes to sequencing, I like to be in my little happy place, my comfort zone, just when we're talking about sequencing, because I need the control right there. I guess that's why they call me accurate, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. I mean, I've seen you play. I see you do beats, and I'm referring to Andreas here, accurate. And your stuff is accurate, but it's just off enough to get that swing in there.
Yeah.
And this is one thing. I like sequencing my stuff. I like it when the sequencer does my wrongs right. When the sequencer helps me in playing right. That's why I like Figure from Propellerhead. Well, it's allihopa now. Never mind. But I like that. But what I don't like is when the sequencer doesn't have any settings for putting any swing in there. If that happens, I'll stop using the app completely. I just won't use it anymore. I just won't use it. If I can't put any swing in there, I won't use it.
I think Figure is a great example, because on the first thing on to the left, you can just put that to 0, and then
all of the sequences to 0 if you want.
Yeah, but if you take the first one to 0 and you do it manually, then you can play unquantized, and the start and the end point of the loop is fixed and it's quantized, but the things you put into that's not quantized, and that's where I feel comfortable. So Figure is a great app for me as long as I can use it the way I want.
I think, Andreas, if I talk about like the Electron gear, I think that the analog rhythm is probably the one piece of Electron gear I think would fit most easily into most people's workflow. It's still quite traditional in one sense. It's not that complicated, and it's a really good drum machine, and you can also load samples, and it sounds glorious because it's analog, and the filter is really nice and effects. So I think if anything, that is something that can easily be fitted if you like if you want a drum machine, that is, or something akin to a drum machine. It's also the one thing I liked about the Electrons. I'm not going to. I'm trying not to hype them too much here, but I really like the sequencers. The sequencers are very musical. They are not like the OP1 sequencer, which seems to be even more experimental, even though it's linear and it's less about quantization, it seems to me. But the Electrons are more. You can really go into depth on each step and change parameters and so on, and I think it's a super interesting workflow. And it's good that it's linear, so it's still it's still easy to grasp if you come from a traditional linear DAW or linear recording background. I think that's really cool. But I mean, like the Octatrack, I mean, that's something when you use it, you have to have an idea of why you're using it. It can't just substitute. I have the Machine Studio, and you can't substitute it. It's just, it can do similar things, but it takes it in a whole different direction. I think that's cool.
I would quite like the Octatrack.
Let's put it out there. If somebody want to gift it to Jacob, his YouTube.
Yeah, well, yeah. I've got enough gear to try to befriend it. Either way, I can tell you, I didn't say at the beginning of this what was my most favorite piece of gear right now, and I'll tell you, it's one of these. It's a pad controller.
Yeah.
Because I hate is a strong word. I do not like regular keyboards. So I actually play all my notes on this. I play all my drums on this. I do everything with this now. I don't use keyboards. I've never liked keyboards. I don't like playing it like that. But I do like finger tapping stuff. I like fingering stuff. I like fingering it a lot.
Okay, there's a meme in the making.
Oh, yes.
I actually think I'm right with you there, Jakob. I do almost all my stuff on machine. OP1 is fun and I use it, yeah, but my real production and for this beat tapes things, it's almost everything on the machine. And I like hitting pads way more than I like playing keys. So I get what you're saying, but for an iPad, isn't it kind of limited just to have like 16 pads and try to macro it?
Yes. But the iPad is a touch device, so it's so easily fixed, right? Because whatever extra I need to reach, it's on the interface. I mean, it's on the pad. So I use the pads and I use the actual screen of the interface of the app. So it's kind of a perfect solution for me. I really don't need that much. But what I have done is I have contacted IK Multimedia because I'm in contact with them, and I've told them, you seriously need to add something more, because there are no pure slider or fader controllers that you have, or any knobs or anything like that, because many times, oh boy, I miss the knobs. I miss the knobs a lot. I like pulling knobs, boys. I love pulling knobs.
But
gotta have the knobs.
But when we were talking about, we maybe should be talking a little bit about the Rolly blocks. And you say that you like pad controllers and you like them for the iPad. So what don't you like about the Rolly blocks, Jakob?
It's I hope I don't get shot down for this. It's the whole way they're marketing the stuff. They're trying to, I don't know. It's like anyone can use it. Yeah, sure. If you own a $600 pad or something like that, I don't know. I mean, I like stuff for the iPad, but does someone else have something more to say about that? Because I really need to formulate myself well. This is why I make edited videos. I don't want to say what I'm thinking straight out there. The Rolly blocks people are gonna hate me for it.
Yeah, so I can just weigh in on it a little bit. So I think I haven't tried. First off, I haven't tried them. I've seen a great deal of YouTube videos on them. I think they're definitely doing something right with the touch surface. I've tried also the Rolly Seaboard. I tried it in stores, and I think it's not for me. but it's super interesting the way that they approach controlling and playing. But okay, so if I'm going to, so I'm super interested about the blocks because I don't like making music on my iPad or iPhone. I have a hard time. I love seeing people like you, Jacob, who does it. I want to do it, but I just, there's just something that makes me unable to perform using it. So for me, it was like, okay, these blocks could really be sort of a controller that would work for me, and that would add something that would let me play the iPad or iPhone that would also make sense in my bigger setup. Something that with the tactile style that added something to my bigger setup that I couldn't really get otherwise. But then again, if I'm going to talk about something that makes me a little bit negative about it, is that I don't really like the idea of purchasing something for around, I think it's at least 150 euros, if not more. It's almost 200 euros, I think. That is, that is basically something that you can only use with an iPhone. Because for me, it feels very dated. It's like, okay, so what happens if I don't, if they start upgrading the software and I don't want to get a new phone? And, I get all these thoughts in my head, just like with the software-based setups that I got. Like, I have to keep up with the technology. That's why I like my hardware, because when I got it, I can use it until it breaks down. So I don't really like the whole integration thing. It makes me, as a consumer, I'm not really sure. Like, is it the phone that makes the sound, or is it the block? What kind of value does the block have in itself? I mean, it makes me...
Nothing at all. I just think the block is just a extension of the phone, the screen on the phone on the iPad. That's why I don't really understand what the product is. I haven't seen it myself and I haven't tried it, so I should be quiet, I guess. But I really don't understand the value about the block itself. It has lights and it transmits MIDI, I guess, some way.
Yeah, but it also has this 5D, with, you can press it down to create different harmonics and so on. So that's sort of, it's probably a very nice piece of engineering, I would say. And as far as I've understood, it sort of transmits audio, but that's where I'm unclear. I have to read up a lot on it, and I'm basically saying this because it's like, as a naive consumer, this is something Rolly should be more clear about. Is this a controller or is it an actual synthesizer? And if it's an actual synthesizer, why can't I just output the sound from the unit itself? That's what I would want. Now I haven't tried it yet. I still think it's very interesting, but there are some questions there that I think you alluded to.
Some people in the chat room are mentioning that you could also connect it to a computer and use it.
Yeah, you can.
So, as a controller, I guess it's cool, but just to sell it as a thing for the iPad or the iPhone, just if it just was that, I wouldn't understand the purpose of it at all. But yeah, let's try it first and let's judge it later.
Like, there's a comment here from John G, TV 1977. If Apple made some gear, they would crush it. They would crush blocks. Now, listen closely here. This is what I think, John G. Apple, you do not want them to make this thing that would crush blocks, because if they did, it would be a series of dongles, one after another, and we wouldn't be able to use it unless we subscribe to some weird service somewhere. So no, John, I don't think they want to do it, because they know they'd have to make like 300,000 different dongles just to make it work with one iPhone. And then you also need the headphone port connected to there. Sorry, that's just my take on it.
Is that a rant?
Annoys me a bit. Huh?
Is that a rant, or what is this?
That's a rant. That's a rant. And I hope that John G doesn't feel hit by this, because that was a good thing to bring up there. If Apple does anything to crush anyone else, then it's going to be full of dongles.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yes, I'm curious. I mean, I've been talking to the Rolly people if they wanted to send me Rolly blocks, and perhaps they will. So I will be sure to make a video on it, talking about what I like and what I don't like. But I'm always quite upfront if my expectations aren't that high. I think it's it's sort of a niche product. It's sort of unclear to me who they are marketing it to, really, because it's pretty high price for a small controller for an iPhone, and I know you can use it in different setups. So there's probably people who will use it in a very creative way. But like you said, Jacob, they're sort of, in the marketing, it's sort of marketed as something that you use with a iPhone device or an smartphone. It's just I think I'm curious and a bit confused. I think about it.
Yeah, if Rolly ever got in contact with me and asked me to check it out, I will check it out. But I'm so unclear about what it is really, and I think they need to do a better job explaining exactly what the thing is. I don't like the marketing so far, but I would like to try it out. Of course, I would like to try it.
Okay, here's another point as well. So sort of a general point I have about the whole software and hardware combinations. I don't really enjoy when you buy a piece of hardware that is connected to a piece of software that is where I can't really customize, or I can't really expand on the sounds myself. So if I buy a machine, I can still load samples, I can load VSTs, I can connect it in various ways inside of a DAW, for example. But the Rolly block is, at least when you use it on an iPhone, it's sort of limited to the app, and I don't really enjoy that.
Then it does. I mean, because the iPad is full of apps, and I mean, it makes sense to use it there in some way. I don't know. I know what you're trying to say, man. I know what you're trying to say. I mean, I do like the machine too. I would love a machine. I would love it because you can just unhook it and walk away with it. And that's what I like doing too. Like, unhook it and walk away with it. Like, if you look at this Arturia, have you seen that Arturia drum MIDI thing that they did? I think it was Arturia. Like, what's it called? iSpark?
No.
iSpark, isn't it just?
Yeah. That's an old one. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like a software for like there is iSpark for iPad now, but it came for the PC first, right, or something, and so you can buy a controller for it. But that's just the thing. So you buy this software and you have the software, and then you have the controller, and that's the controller. And I don't know. I'd rather just have one controller that can do everything. In that case,
well, I have to disagree. That's why I love machine, and that's why I got the first Mark I of the Arturia Minilab. I love to have a MIDI controller that's dedicated to one thing, because I want to learn stuff like hands-on, like a real hardware synth or like a hardware sampler. I want to get it into my muscle memory, so I know that, okay, if I do this and I twist this knob, press that button 3 times and doesn't do this, this happens. Okay, and the thing with the machine or stuff like that is that the hardware, that is what it is, and you can learn it, but the software can still evolve, and it can still be developed and still live its own life. But it doesn't die off like a hardware synth or a hardware sampler does, because, oh, now it comes a new function, we have time stretch. Yeah, let's just add it into the machine software, and you have that in your sampler. So what I'm looking for right now is the opposite. I'm looking for a really nice VST synth plugin on the computer that has a dedicated controller. Hard quality, sorry. A great quality controller with dedicated knobs to control everything in the software. When I work in machine, I can almost close the lid on my laptop and not care about that. And that's what I like. To have something hardware, that's maybe the best way to go. But to have a hardware controller dedicated to something else, I really like that concept.
Yeah, of course I completely get what you mean. That's probably why I like this thing now. That's why I like the pocket operators. That's why I like the OP1, because they're dedicated. I don't really have to look at the unit to know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of lost with the iPad, because, I mean, if I accidentally turn my iPad like just a bit on the horizontal side, then the whole interface flips around and I might not see it. And that's happened actually when I've been doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything changes and there's no tactile surface that talks back to you. So yeah, you just changed my mind. It makes sense. It makes sense to make dedicated. Yeah, that's why I used to build MIDI controllers in the past.
Yeah, because you know your MIDI controller, you know it inside out, and you know everything about it. And it controls something that you can't control, but you can learn it from the computer, and that can be changed. I mean, Native Instruments is constantly updating this thing. I've had this one for years, and the software is still like the latest version, and everything is just up and running. Super nice.
I guess you guys are talking about two sides of the whole, software hardware integration thing. Like you said, Jacob, one side is that when you have this software and a controller, dedicated controller, you can't just plug it out and go away with it. You have to have the computer, you have to have it set up. So of course that's sort of a limitation perhaps that you can work with and you can live with, and in some cases it's not fun. In some cases you don't feel like it is inspiring. You want to be able to, like I do with the circuit, I just I can have it hooked up, I can tweak sounds with editor, I can use an iPhone app to tweak sounds, and then I can just disconnect it and take it with me and do stuff on the bus or something. But then again, and same with the OP1, I guess. But then again, there's these good sides as well, like you say, Andreas, with the positives, with the really good, the really well integrated hardware controllers, like the Machina. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love my studio. It's the Machine Studio. It's I tried to say Machina, but it just sounds stupid. It's a machine. So I love the studio version. Just because they have such a tight integration. But I feel also that a lot of these controllers, people want the tight integration, but a lot of the controllers are not good enough, or people are not good enough with setting up the MIDI, or the DAW is not good enough at handling it. I've heard, for example, people being a bit negative about the Control series from Native Instruments, that they have, there are some issues in certain DAWs when you change apps and inside of them and so on. That's why I like the Machine 2 point, whatever it is now, because it's when you use it standalone, it's a perfect match between hardware and software. It's a true hybrid, and I really like it.
Yeah, and that's my point exactly. I don't even work in Logic anymore. Practically nothing, because I can do it all in Machine, and I can arrange a full track. People have problems with arranging in Machine, but I took the time to really learn how to do it, and I think I've mastered it. So that's it for me. Then I have the OP1. If I just want to throw something in my backpack and make beats on vacation, then I have the OP1, because that's totally standalone. Doesn't need a computer at all. But that's my setup right now. I have my Machine. That's the heart of it all. The Volca FM is just a fun toy to make some sounds. And right now I'm looking to get a nice, good quality, preferably small keys MIDI controller. And I don't need anything on the MIDI controller, because I do everything on Machine. I just need keys. Keys, nothing else. Not even a knob on that thing.
So should we segue into talking a bit about that? Because we have this, we thought we would talk a little bit about MIDI keyboards in general, and we can give you some ideas as well, Andreas, on what to get. So Jacob, do you have any thoughts on MIDI keyboards? What are you looking for in a MIDI keyboard?
What I'm looking for in a MIDI keyboard is, since I'm kind of a person that likes my gear to be really portable. Many ask me if I really take my stuff and go and produce and go and do stuff. Yes, I do. I do like being portable. I do like just going away from home into a cafe and sitting working on beats while having a cup of joe. So I'm looking for portable stuff that doesn't need batteries or can be powered by USB and stuff like that. I usually want the best build quality, but due to my me not being rich in any way, I have to look at cheaper stuff. And so I used to look at keyboards, and now I don't. Now I look at pads, buttons, like faders and knobs. That's what I want in a controller. It's not important for me to have transport controls for doors, because I'm working on an iPad. So usually the transport controls are right there. So it's not like I'm doing beat making work on the iPad the way that Andreas does, for instance. So I don't need those transport controls or anything. And if I need them, I just set them up on my pad controller, for instance. So far, the pad controller has served me well, except from one thing. There's way too little knobs on it. I've got 2 knobs, one data knob and 1 slider, and that's it. It's just too little. I need 8 knobs. I've always had access to 8 knobs. So yeah, I'm looking at maybe getting something else. I mean, this has served me well. I like the feeling of it. It's a bit lightweight though, a bit too much lightweight. I would like my controller to be more heavy. Yeah, that's basically what I'm looking at in a controller, but I haven't found anything that kind of suits me yet, except from this one. And if I look at any other pad controllers, they're all the same. The only thing that differs really is build quality. Yeah.
But Jakob, what about the Korg, the new Korg Bluetooth things, the Korg Nano series?
Yeah, I don't like the fact that it's Bluetooth.
It doesn't have to be.
Oh, can you run those on cables? Did I miss that? Really? I think I'm gonna have to send an email to Korg and talk to them. I kind of missed that completely. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
You could probably just screen share, accurate.
I don't know.
Yeah, how do we do that? By the way, how do we like?
No, we don't want to show any inappropriate pictures that we have on our desktops.
Oh, come on! I wouldn't do that again.
No. Yeah.
What kind of MIDI keyboard are you using, Bo?
So I have. I'm going to do Gas Williams thing, if you know, from Sonic State. He took something out and he broke a lot of stuff in the studio.
Yeah.
That guy is brilliant. I love him.
Here's a just screenshot this shit and make a meme. No, but yeah, so this is an old Axiom. I didn't put it here because of the podcast. I have it standing right over here because I don't have any space for it at the moment because I have a lot of other shit. So it's a Axiom 61, and I hate MIDI. I'm just going to put it out there. Hate is, like you said, Jacob, a strong word, but I hate MIDI. I hate everything about MIDI. It's not that it's hard to understand. I don't understand it, though. I don't understand it, but I just haven't taken the time to understand it. But I hate the fact that it's not one-to-one. It's not like the machine controller and the software that speaks perfectly together. I know it's not the fault of MIDI. I know it's just, that's just how it is. But when I'm inside, for example, Cubase, I hate the fact that when I switch from one synthesizer to another, I have to remap stuff. That stuff doesn't just happen. I'm a millennial. I just want free stuff to work for me. I don't want to. I'm lazy. No. But I don't really like the whole programming aspects. That is what I'm trying to say. I don't like it. So while I think it's a good MIDI keyboard, I haven't found much use for all the buttons and faders and stuff, because in the end, if I change up my workflow, I just have to remap stuff. I have to relearn stuff, and I don't like that. It's just.
But you normally make your music in Cubase, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do.
So then you have to.
I did. Nowadays, I just use Cubase for mixing and some mastering, and I use the machine a lot, and I use my hardware setup the most with Electron stuff and my Moog and so on.
Oh yeah, of course, but I guess you could find like a template for the action to work with Cubase.
Yeah, sure.
But as you say, then you have to learn it, and then you have to understand MIDI, and
Yeah.
that's the way I feel as well, because I want my MIDI keyboard just to be a keyboard, nothing else.
Yeah.
Because I don't want any more controls. I don't need that. I have everything right here.
Okay, so for example, I'm looking at getting a launch control XL. It's a similar sized controller that I can use with the circuit in order to get like more buttons and faders and whatnot. And of course, I have to set that one up. Sure, there are templates, so I don't have to do the programming. But I would actually enjoy doing the programming for the XL. But I would hook it up, and I would never change anything on it, and just use it with my circuit. I don't like to program stuff. I'm not into that. It's just it's just a hassle for me. It's something that's a really like my Achilles heel, or what you say. That's why I like. So I got the Arturia sent me the Minilab Mark II recently, and I kind of like the idea here because it's set up to work properly with the software from the get-go. And that's something I really like. But I have a hard time. I probably wouldn't use the Minilab Mark II with any other software because I just don't like the idea of switching templates and fiddling with that. It's just it kills my creativity. That's why I like the hardware stuff, because everything's one-to-one hard-coded. This knob does exactly this when I turn it, and it's precise. So I'm not really sure if I answered anything. It's just my rant. This is a rant. We can call the video "He Hates MIDI." Shocker.
I mean, it's funny you say that. I mean, MIDI is something I've used for a long time, and I've also been doing a lot of like DJing and working on stage with lights and stuff. And the DMX systems is the same thing as MIDI, for instance. They speak the same thing. So I'm so used to it. And I'm the kind of guy that sits down with Natives Massive when I used to use that, and computers laptops and stuff in the past. I used to write these macros and stuff for controllers. I love doing that stuff.
Yeah.
I love getting deep into that. And that's why I like, I got this one video on my channel. It's for Thor. And I'm explaining how the I Am Thor patch works. It's basically a patch where you press one key and the synth speaks and says, I am Thor. I mean, there's a lot of things happening in there. And I loved making that video. It took me an awesome amount of time, but it's like, it's so meticulous. Someone's been sitting there for how long? I have no idea. But I've tried to make that patch myself. After 20 minutes, I felt like dying. And after 10 hours, I failed. I couldn't get it there perfect, but I still love it. So I love getting deep in with MIDI. I like all of that stuff. But I do agree with you. When you want to work with something, when you want to get everything up and working, doing something live, you do not want to fiddle around with templates and assigning MIDI channels and this and that. That's kind of it's just so anti-music, having to bring out your calculator for doing stuff. Yeah. So I understand that completely. I don't hate MIDI, nor do I really like it. It's helped me a lot in the past, and it's what we had to connect hardware in the past, and it's what we still use. That's why I like Ableton Link now.
Okay.
If that could become like truly like wireless, Ableton Link, oh, no more MIDI. Wow. Think about that, like Ableton Link in hardware, in stuff coming out. Do you guys know a lot about it?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
The few times I've tried it, I've never gotten it to work the way I wanted to. It just doesn't sync up the right way, and it just didn't work for me. So no.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I've never had so much fun in my entire life.
I had two iPhones and an iPad, and it just wouldn't speak the same language.
Yeah. So I think my point about MIDI, as someone in chat said, it's not MIDI per se I dislike, and that's true to some to some extent. It's more the implementation, and I think it's a sort of limited. It's a very old language, if you want to call it that, or something. And it's a tad limited in itself. So I really don't like the implementation, and I think it also has to do with the fact that I like gear that somebody else has put a lot of effort into thinking about how this piece of hardware should work, like the Native Instruments stuff. Somebody far more intelligent and brilliant when it comes to hardware design has really worked with the machine controller and the software and integrating it, so I don't have to start to think about that when I want to make music, and that's why I like the machine, for example. But so Andreas, if we're going to tie up this topic a little bit, what are you looking for in a keyboard controller, or in a what are you interested in?
I don't know really. My MIDI setup right now is the old Korg microcontrol. That's the same set of keys that the micro Korg has, but it's just a MIDI controller. So mini keys from Korg, made like 15 years ago. I love that keyboard. I really, really love it. But that's all I need. I don't need all the pads and the faders and the encoders it has. So something like that. I'm looking into the Arturia KeyStep.
KeyStep,
yeah. That's what I'm looking to get. And
I think that would be really interesting for you, because that's something also I always try to look for in a MIDI controller, is like the versatility. You can use it as an arpeggiator. It has some kind of chord mode, and you can use it standalone. You don't have to have a computer, or at least, I think you don't have to have a computer. It has.
What?
I think it has.
Where does the sound come from?
No, but I mean, you can hook it up to say your Volca keys, for example, or Volca FM.
Does it have MIDI out? That I haven't looked into.
Yeah, I think so. I could be mistaken now. Let's not hope I'm totally wrong here. But I think, isn't that sort of the point, that you can use it as a sequencer as well, just like the beat step?
Maybe it is. Maybe I missed this. I just like the size of it. I hate that it's white, but I like the size of it. I don't know.
So you're just gonna check it out real fast here.
But I need to.
It got MIDI. It got MIDI, of course. Yeah. That's why I like the beat step and key step stuff. Yeah.
How many MIDI? In, out, through, or just in, out?
Let's see here. I can't see. Yeah, let's see here. It got MIDI in, out. Yeah.
In and out. Okay. Cool.
And also MIDI USB, of course. And DC jack for standalone operation. Yeah, so it's basically a standalone. That's why I like my my M Audio stuff, because you can use it standalone as well. So I actually have a use for it. If I don't want to use it with my computer, I can use it with my circuit, for example. And that's something I think is very important when you pick up a MIDI controller. Are you only going to use it with like the Minilab? You can pretty much just use it with a computer. You can use it with what is called a USB host, MIDI host. So you can plug the USB into a host and then MIDI out to something else, for example. But then again, you have to have a box for it, a separate box, like the iConnect or something like that.
Yeah, I could live with that, but then I need to know that it's stable and always works the same way.
Yeah, but I would recommend getting something that you can really use for different purposes. If you ever want to switch it up, if you want to, for a video or something, or for a beat, try to, make the like a arpeggio using only the key step and the Volca FM, for example. There's a versatility that is pretty cool as well.
Guys, we've been online for super long right now. I have to leave pretty soon, actually.
Yeah. Right. So all right. So this was the first try and the first episode of the Low Pass podcast. So how did you guys feel about it so far?
Yeah, I think this was fun. And it's a good exercise for me, because I feel so uncomfortable, and I'll be honest, I probably won't dare watching the feed, like the recorded feed, for a year, Because in a year I can look back and say like, look at this idiot. And right now it'll just hurt, like listening to myself go on and rant about Apple stuff. That's just one thing. Yeah, but it feels good, and I want to do this really soon. We cannot wait as long as we did the first time, you know?
No.
Yeah, but I think it speaks to our perfectionism that it took, it was the step. We could argue that it was schedule conflicts and whatnot, but in truth, I think it speaks to sort of our own perfectionism that we wanted, it took a while for us to get started, but I felt it was really cool to do it. And of course, we go off on rants and we talk about stuff we haven't tried. And I think the audience, I think you guys in the chat, that it's all in good fun. And
they're awesome. They're all awesome. They know it.
Yeah.
And I want to thank everyone for joining up and watching us three Swedish blokes. Hey, also, do we have like a date? Because Samuel Lindemann is asking when the next episode might be. Do we know?
Tomorrow.
No.
Tomorrow?
No,
not tomorrow.
I can do it tomorrow, but it's all up to you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so I think we have to. I'm sorry, Samuel. But we, of course, have, everyone here has some kind of a day job, and some of us got kids as well. So it's...
I will be doing a live thing tomorrow, by the way. So anyone who wants to see some live synthesizer tweaking and talk about that, just go to my channel. I'll announce it before I start.
Okay, cool. So tomorrow?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I forgot to say anything about it. I've been so up into my channel and statistics and stuff, and I just want to have fun with the viewers now. So tweak some synthesizers and just show how I'm going about doing that. So that I'll be doing that tomorrow.
And I can actually announce that I will be doing a live stream on, let's see, it's Thursday, that Wednesday tomorrow, and then it's I'm
Thursday is date night for me. We're going to a restaurant and stuff.
I'll be there.
Cool.
I'll
I'll do a live stream sometime Thursday as well. I think at least my child and her mother is going away for a couple of hours, so I am doing some kind of some live producing, I think, with Octatrack and the circuit and so on. Yeah, to make something just to interact with you guys. So Andreas, how was the accurateness of today's podcast?
What kind of question is that, man? I don't know. This podcast was a little too long, I think, but it was all great fun.
Oh no,
too short, man.
Too short. Yeah, we can.
Too short.
4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah. 12 hours. We do a marathon.
But everybody here wants my attention, so
I feel you. It's the same.
You're gonna have to change your name to Inaccurate soon. If you keep working.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So, Jacob, do you wanna end this with some words of wisdom, or just in a
we don't have a catchphrase for this yet, so we'll catch you all on the low pass the next time, and that's about what I can say. Thank you so much for coming, and join up next time. We will be announcing it in time, I hope. So thank you so much for coming. This is me, Jakob Hack from Hack Attack. It's Bo from Bo Beats and Andreas from Accurate Beats. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.